There are a lot of great tools out there that can help you improve your performance here in Raid Shadow Legends. But one of the most powerful and versatile tools of all is something that you've probably already been using for most of your life. Now, this tool doesn't require you to download a third-party piece of software like the HH Optimizer or RSL Helper, nor does it require that you learn how to navigate a new website like hellhades.com or deadwoodjedi.com. Now, don't get me wrong, I love all four of those tools that I just mentioned. I use most of them very frequently, and so I will include links to all four in the description of this video. If you have the time and inclination, I highly recommend you check them out. But the tool I'm going to be talking about today is something much more universally accessible, and it's also a tool you probably have a lot of skill and experience with already. And that is none other than this bad boy right here, the classic calculator. Now hold up, don't click off the video just yet. I know that a lot of us have what I guess I would call math trauma, and when this pops up, we have bad memories arise. Well, in this video, we're not going to do a whole lot of math. We're going to do a little bit of math. I'm going to do a little bit of math. You don't have to do anything really, but I do want to show you two things on this calculator today. The first is pretty simple. You're never going to have to repeat it ever again in your life. It's just a little proof that there is a huge advantage to saving 100% of your shards for 2x events like this 2x Ancient Shard event that we have going on right now. This is especially true if you are in the early game or mid game, and if you are a free-to-play player. The second thing that I want to show you is a little calculation that you can actually learn how to do really easily. It's called an expected return calculation, and it can help you estimate whether or not you have enough shard resources to complete a summon rush or champion chase, and that can help you determine whether or not you want to commit to attempting a fusion like the Tholin fusion going on right now, or a Titan event like the Titan event going on right now. In addition, at the end, after talking about all of this stuff, I still have to pull my ancient shards. I'm waiting until Sunday these days. That's just the way it works. So if you want to skip all of the math and just watch the shard pulls, you are invited to do that as well. I am Colred. This is Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends. Let's get started. So before we do any math, I want to take you back to the beginning of 2025 and the Hell Hades free-to-play challenge. Now, I really enjoyed the free-to-play challenge this year. I also loved it last year. I think it's a great event, probably the best in all of the Raid community. But I was disappointed with one particular aspect, especially this year. And that was how many content creators just YOLO'd all of their shards for the duration of the event, or even just like the first half of the event. And I think that what happened basically is that the content creators who did really, really well, who were in, let's say, the top 10, most of them just YOLO'd their shards. I didn't YOLO a single ancient shard. We'll talk about that in a moment. But out of the top 10 creators, the vast majority of them YOLO'd shards and hit early on. We had Harimas, we had Nekmothars, we had other champions like Geomancer that came into the mix and propelled those accounts forward. Those accounts snowballed harder than the others, and as a result, they naturally rose up the leaderboards. And as a result, it appeared that the message to the community was you should YOLO your shards if you want to have success on a free-to-play account. And that's absolutely not true. That's demonstrably false. The thing that you don't see when you watch those content creators is that they are the outliers, right? Remember, they're excellent players. Of course, they're excellent players. They're going to make the maximum value out of the champions that they get. But in addition, a lot of other content creators also YOLO'd their shards. Out of the 55 or 56 creators that we had in the contest, my guess would be probably 50 of them, 48, 50 of them, basically took the YOLO strategy. There were only a handful of us that did not YOLO any shards. And what happens is the vast majority of those YOLO type content creators were also in the bottom 10 of the leaderboard. And they were spread all throughout the leaderboard, because when everybody is YOLOing shards, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to get a leaderboard that's all spread out, and the people who are successful are going to be at the top, and the people who didn't hit on any champions are going to be at the bottom. But you're going to watch the best accounts. You're going to watch the content creators who are the most excited about their accounts, and those are going to be the people who hit on good champions. Now, this creates an illusion. It's an illusion that YOLOing your shards, especially your ancient shards, is valuable in the early game. It's not. I will say this. If you happen to hit on your first few shards, hitting that early helps you snowball your account really hard. That's great. But for you as an individual player, the only way you could pretty much guarantee that this happens is to roll up like 20 simultaneous accounts and play them all for the first, 30, 60 days and YOLO all of your shards on all of your accounts. And then at the end of it, just pick your 1 or 2 best accounts and play those forward and play those according to good free-to-play strategies. And you will have snowballed those accounts pretty well. And now that you're going to be doing the right things, you can just keep that going. But most of us don't want to do that. So if you're just going to play one account, your account, the first one that you roll up, and you want to increase your chances of success as much as possible, from day one, you should be saving your shards for 2x events like the one we have going on right now. And that's what I did on my free-to-play account. And I ended up 7th out of the entire community in just 84 days. And if you go back and watch that series, in the first week, I was in the bottom 5. And then every week after, it was like I moved up 5 places until I was 7th overall without YOLOing a single shard. And if the game, if the contest had gone on another 10 or 20 days, I would have moved up another few spots. And if the contest had gone on for 6 months or a year, I probably would have ended up in 1st or 2nd or 3rd spot, because there were a lot of really good content creators, but unless they changed their strategy to match mine, to be fully free to play, I would have passed them. I would have passed them, because the most consistent way to be successful in this game is to save your resources and then get the most value that you can out of them. And that's never to YOLO. YOLO never gives you the most value. Now, there are some exceptions to the 2x event rule. I've talked about most of them here on the channel before. I'll just repeat that 2 of them that you would think about for an event like this would be if there was a 1+1 event. So, get a legend, pull a legendary, get a legendary, so you can get 2 legendaries for 1 shard. If you are close to or into Mercy at that point, then it would be worth pulling shards. But you really don't want to pull more than like 50 or 60 shards to get there. So, if you're talking about needing to pull 150 ancient shards, you shouldn't do it. You should skip on those events. Yeah, and so that's basically it. You need to track your Mercy and know when some of those special events are up. And if you're in Mercy or close to it, then you can go ahead and pull outside of 2x event. The only other time I pull outside of a 2x event is during a fusion or a Titan event, right? And basically during a fusion, I look at all of my shard investments as moving me towards the guaranteed champion, right? Now, this is a 2x event. That's great. But if this were sacred shards, let's say if I was pulling sacred shards today, I'm just investing those sacred shards in the guaranteed Tholin champion that I know I can get, right? And anything that I pull from those shards is just a cherry on top. That's all it is. It's a bonus. So in today's video, the first math that I'm going to do here is I don't want to belabor the point that this is super advantageous. You don't need to see how good it is. What I want to show you is how bad a 1x event is in comparison to a 2x event, because I think this will actually hit home a little bit harder at this point. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to take a look at the numbers here, the default summoning chances. Now, right now it's showing for ancient shards, we're showing the doubled rates, right? So 1% legendary, 16% epic, 83% rare. A really simple way to think of this is if I pull 100 shards on average, I will get 1 legendary, 16 epics, and 83 rares. So the 1x rates would be a half a legendary, 8 epics, and 91.5 rares, right? And the difference between those two might not seem huge. You have to pull 100 shards to get that difference. It's like, what's the difference between half a legendary and a full legendary? It's basically a legendary or no legendary, like whatever. It doesn't feel like that big a difference. I got a shard. I want to pull it. I'm going to pull it. Okay. So what I want to do is pull up the calculator here, and I want to talk about not the success rate, but the failure rate for a second. I want to talk about blue tax, because blue tax is the worst feeling in the game. You do a 10 pull and you land with all 10 rares from your ancient shards and you get nothing, right? So that feels really bad. That's probably one of the worst feelings that you can get during a summon event of this type. And I want to show you the frequency with which you will get a blue tax during a 2x event versus a 1x event. That's it. That's what we're going to show you right here. Now, the way to do that is to look at the rare chance. We have an 83% chance of getting a rare, so 0.83. And we just want to do that 10 times. So we're just going to multiply that by itself 10 times. So there's 1, here's 2, here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the chance of getting 10 rares in a row is 15.5%. Now that's significant. That's not nothing. That means 1 out of about every 6 or so pulls, 6.5, 10 pulls, you're going to end up with 1 blue tax, right? But now I want to show you the chance of doing that like back to back, right? Are you going to get a blue tax and then you're going to get a blue tax again? Well, what that means is like you need to get 20 in a row, basically, in order to do that. So we're just going to multiply this by itself. You got a 2% chance, 2.5% chance of getting back-to-back blue taxes. So 15.5% chance of getting 1 blue tax and a 2.5% chance of getting back-to-back blue taxes. That is during a 2x event. Now what we want to do is we want to show the 1x event, right? So let's go ahead and do a 1x event. Now, the chance of pulling a rare during a 1x event is 91.5%, so 0.915. And we have to do that 10 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 41% of the time that you YOLO a 10 pull of Ancient Shards, you will get a blue tax versus 15.5%. So you may be thinking, this is a 2x event, so my chances should be about, like by 2. I should divide by 2. Well, no, it's worse than that, right? Like 15%, 15.5% multiplied by 2 would be 31%. There's an extra 10% chance of getting a blue tax here than you might expect. And that's because this is like a compound interest problem. This is not just, oh, everything's doubled, right? The more shards you pull, the worse it gets for you. Literally the worse it gets for you. So for instance, what's the chance that you're going to get back-to-back blue taxes on a 1x event? All we have to do is multiply it by itself. 17% of the time. Do you remember what it was for a 2x event? 2.4% of the time. 2.4% of the time. So it is 7 times more likely to happen to you in a 1x event than in a 2x event. It's not just double everything and that's the way it works. You might say, well, in the short run, I don't really care. I'm just going to YOLO. And here's the thing. If YOLOing is what gives you joy, then YOLO away. But if what gives you joy is playing your account in such a way that you get as many legendary champions as possible, as many good champions as possible, then you really should only be pulling during a 2x event. Now, one of the big things about this that you might think is like, well, okay, but most of the champions that I pull are going to be epics. Yes, that is true. And what do you need to build a great free-to-play account? As many epics as you can get a hold of. It's not just your Geomancers and your Deacon Armstrongs that you need, not just your, Godseeker Aniris and all those super powerful, the Demithas and the Maneaters. You need a ton of epics because epics do things like help you in faction wars. They do things like when you can fill out your faction guardians, your epic faction guardians much faster. They make your other epics more powerful. There are so many things that help you when you build a bunch of epics into your roster. And then when you progress through the game for a couple of years, what you're going to find is some of those epics that you're going to get are like 4-star chickens. Imagine getting 16 4-star chickens for 100 shards. That's basically what this is offering you. 14 4-star chickens? Yes, please sign me up. That's going to help me make more 6-stars. But early on in your account, faction crypts, good champions that you can build into 6-stars, that can help you in Doom Tower, that can help you in dungeons, that are going to help you grow your account and get the resources that you need to get great gear or get more sacred shards or more void shards where you can get the most powerful champions in the game. So, okay, I don't want to belabor the point too much, but as you can see, one-time events suck. They're awful. Stop YOLOing your shards. Every 6 weeks, you get an opportunity to do this. Every once in a while, they throw in an additional one. So yeah, save your shards. 6 weeks isn't that long because remember, every 2 weeks, you're going to be pulling a different shard. So in 2 weeks time, I think we're pulling void shards. And then in 4 weeks time, we'll be pulling sacred shards. And then 2 weeks after that, we're back to ancient shards. So every 2 weekends, you're going to have an opportunity to improve your roster with a 2x event. So please hold on to your shards for that reason. Okay, so that was our first little bit of math. I hope you found it helpful. Now I want to talk about expected returns. When I'm looking at this, I want to think about the point total that I need in order to get whatever reward it is that is going to complete my goal. So in this particular case, it may just be that I'm looking for the rare for the fusion. However, if I'm also going for the soul, right? If I'm going for the Tholin soul for the Titan event, this 5,500 points should be a goal probably because this is 130 points and you can only give up 250 points in the entire Titan event. I know I promised you a video about the Titan event. Unfortunately, it was Father's Day weekend and I just didn't get to it yet. I'm hoping to get to it maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. But if you want my quick advice, if you think you want to go for the soul, these 130 points, if they're within your reach, are something that you're going to want to consider. Okay. So the quick calculation that I want to do is, do I have enough shards to reasonably expect to get those 3,500 points or 5,500 points? Now, you get points for champions based on this little graph here. As you can see, for a rare, you get 10. For an epic, you get 250. And for a legendary, you get 500. We're pulling ancient shards, so these are the only 3 kinds of champions we can get. So those are the only 3 numbers we care about. So let's just put that right there and then pull up our calculator. Now we can trash all of that because I was incredibly convincing and everybody is going to stop YOLOing shards. But now let's go ahead and talk about what can we expect in terms of points. And again, the leaderboard there, again, we need 3,500 points. I think it was 5,500 points. We'll look in just a second. So the easiest thing that you can do here is just do everything in terms of 100, right? Remember that we were going to get 83 rares, and that's going to be times 10. So that's going to be 830 points. Let's just put that aside right now. So we're going to get 1 legendary. That's easy. That's going to be 500 points. The big one is epic. So 16 epics times 250 points. Not a bad calculation. That's 4,000 points. So let's go ahead and add 83 times 10, 83 rares plus times 10 points is 830 points. And then we're going to hit 1 legendary, and that's 500 points. 5,330 is a number that you could memorize if you like, because it's never going to change. They haven't changed these points ever. So 5,330 is what you are going to get per 100 ancient shards during a 2x event. Okay, if you're doing it during a 1x event, all you need to do is calculate how many you're going to get times how many points you're going to get. So how many rares you're going to get, 91.5 times 10. How many epics are you going to get, 8 times 250, and then a half a legendary, and put that in. Now, I know that you can't get a half a legendary. That's okay. It doesn't matter if there are decimals in your numbers. That's fine. This is just what you would average on 100 pulls. So if you pulled 100 ancient shards 1,000 times in the life of your account, you would average 5,330 points about per event. So if I want to look at the point totals now, so let's go ahead and close this out. All right, let's move this over a little bit. We know 5,330. And so I want to see, okay, I need to get 5,500 points. So what can I do? I can say, okay, well, let's go ahead and do 5,500 points, which is my goal, over what I get per 100 shards. And what that's going to tell me is 1.03. I'm going to multiply that by 100 if I want to. And it's going to tell me I need 103 shards. On average, it's going to take 103 shards. And you can do that with any number of points. So for instance, let's say I wanted to check out the 3,500 points. I would just say 3,500 divided by 5,330. And I need 66 shards, right? Whatever this percentage is, again, you can multiply it by 100 if you prefer to see it in countable numbers as opposed to decimals. So 65.6 shards, 66 shards would get you the 3,500 points. Now, this 3,500 point mark has moved a little bit over time. It used to be like 3,000 and 3,150. Well, you never know exactly how high it's going to be. I think this is a high number because this is a classic fusion, and PlayerAim knows that we're going to get a few hundred points out of our epics, out of fusing our epics. So they've pushed this a little bit higher. Usually it's more like 3,000 or 3,150. Sometimes it's higher. It's been higher before. You know, so again, if you're going into it, you can say, well, I've got Champion Chase in 2 weeks. On average, I collect, you know, X number of shards per week. That could be 10, it could be 15, whatever it happens to be for you. And you can say, so I'm going to have, you know, 78 shards or roughly 78 shards in 2 weeks time. And that's going to be enough to do the Champion Chase. So I should be fine. Then I know that I can go ahead and proceed to attempt that fusion. But if I've got like 4 ancient shards right now because I'm always YOLOing them, then I know, hey, in 2 weeks time, I'm only going to have like 40 shards. That's not going to be enough. So I'm either going to have to buy shards with gems, or I'm going to have to buy it, you know, a shard pack, like with real money or whatever it happens to be. Or I'm going to have to pull like void shards. Void shards are even worse. You don't want to pull void shards during a one times event for void shards. You never want to do that. If there happened to be a void shard event this weekend, then fine. Then that would have been fine, right? But hold on to your voids. Hold on to your sacreds for other events. Don't pull outside of a 2 times event if you can help it. Save up your ancient shards. You should always have enough. You should always have enough for a fusion if you do this. Okay. Now, in this particular case, the point total for me is a little bit different because I have basically 750 points here. So I want to get those 5,500 points. I'm going to subtract 750. That means I need 4,750. I'm going to divide that by 5,330. And that tells me I need roughly 89 shards. Okay, so I need 89 shards roughly. It could be less, it could be more. Remember, RNG plays a factor. It shouldn't be like double. It should never be double. I shouldn't have to pull 180 shards. If it goes badly, it would probably be something like maybe like 110, 120 shards, right? So instead of 90, 120. So maybe a 25% swing, something like that. I've certainly heard of worse, but it's never really happened to me consistently that it's that bad. And on top of everything, I still think I might have one more that I could fuse soon. Yeah, I've got 3 of these, and I think there's a 4th one that I can grab outside of this event, so I can get another 250 points. Plus, of course, I can use my fragments, right? I can use my fragment champions. I also have remnant summons that give me a guaranteed epic, so I'm going to do this. That's 1 guaranteed epic. That's 250 points. So this is going to reduce that number of shards. And as you can see, I have exactly 89. It just happened to be that. I didn't plan that. I didn't do anything to make that happen. It just turned out that way. So hopefully these 89 shards will be enough. But if not, I do have that remnant summons. I do have those fragment champions. And of course, I have gems. I could always go into the store and buy like a big gem pack or whatever, get 11 more shards. That would make it an even 100, which would be nice. And kind of, I like round numbers anyway. But I have exactly what I need without really going into anything else unless I get unlucky, which could happen. So that is it. That's the end of the math. If you want to do an expected return calculation, just go ahead and rewatch that part of the video. And hopefully that'll show you in the future how to estimate if you're going to have enough shard resources. Now, that was 25 minutes or whatever it was until we got to the shard pulls. So now, welcome back all of you who skipped all of the math and are just here for the shard pulls. I'm actually going to really quick, because I have 82 spots, that's going to make me mad. I'm going to clear out just a few more spaces, and then we're going to pull my ancient shards. So, okay, let's go ahead and do some 10 pulls. And yeah, it wouldn't be bad to get some empowerment champions. Corpse Collector is not somebody I need to empower, but purple is purple. 2 purples. All right, that's pretty good. Actually, you know what? I think the camera was in better location before. Okay, there we go. All right, so not bad. That was pretty good. 500 points there. So 580 points technically. Another, Morag Bronze Lock. I think that might be her +4. Could be her +3. So 340 points there. What do we need on average? We need 550 points on average to get the Titan points. Actually, no, we need more than that. We need like 650. Okay, so we really need double epics, and then we need to hit a legendary at some point. Although I guess technically not. We had the 750 points, so maybe it is more like, I don't know. I can't do that in my head right now. All right, we're doing all right on the epics. Gizcard, the Sigiled, Aethar. Hey, 3, Ripper, 4, Doom Priest. I think Doom Priest is already +4, but that was a good one. That was over 1,000 points, so that was really nice. I still want to see gold. I always want to see gold. I still have tons of Faction Guardians to fill out for the legendary status. Here, I'm going to get blue taxed. No, I didn't get blue tax. All right, nice. So this is, the 2 times event, only a 15.5% chance of getting a blue tax. And there's a chance that we could avoid it. Pretty good chance that we could avoid it entirely. But it does happen on occasion. Ooh, another 4. That's really nice. So we should be pretty good on points right now. How many more 10 pulls do we have? We have 2 more 10 pulls. I'm just going to do 1 and see how we do here. If we do really good, I'm going to check the points. If we blue tax, then I'll just pull the next one. There's the blue tax. Nope. All right, we still got out of it. So let's check the tournament. I wasn't counting up the points as we went. All right, so we're already doing quite well. We're at the 5,050 point mark. So we need 451 more points. So 1 10 pull with 1 epic would be 340, and then I could just do mystery shards the rest of the way. I don't think I'll have to buy any extra shards. I don't think I'll have to, do anything else. And one of the other things that I didn't really mention here, but you should consider, is you are more likely during a 2 times event to get luckier, right? Because the variability is lower and it's more in your favor. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say you have a chance, you're going to get 1 legendary here. During a 1 times event, you pull 100 shards. If you hit a legendary, you're already lucky. Pulling 2 or 3, legendaries out of a 1 times event is so much less less likely. Or especially epics. Getting more epics, like getting more than 16% epics, is much more likely to happen during a 2 times event than a 1 times event. You get luckier when the odds are more in your favor. Think about a coin flip. A coin flip is 50-50, but if you flip it twice, you got a decent chance of both of them being the same, right? In fact, you have, what is it? It's a 50% chance. 50% chance, because if you're taking either one. But yeah, so the variability is more in your favor. Last one. Let's see if we can get those 550 points. We need 2 epics. We've got 1. Get 1 on the bottom. Get 1. Come on, 1 more. All right, 340 points. Still not bad. I don't have to pull these extra 9 ancients. I can go ahead and save those for another event. And my tournament points are going to be very close to the 5,500. I only have 6 hours here, so I want to go ahead and... It didn't update yet. It did not update yet. That was the same points that we saw before. Sometimes it takes a second. So 5389. So I need to pull maybe 100, maybe 100 ancient shards. There's a champion training going on right now, so that's not so bad. Or I could just, I guess I could go over. Where am I on the leader? I'm not even close to getting into the top 10. I guess I'll just pull these singles. I'll just pull these singles for a while. I don't want to, I mean, I have to pull some mystery shards, but it's going to be a pain with the roster space right now. So I'm just going to go ahead, and if I get like an epic on like the first 4, I'll be done. And if not, I'll just pull like 5 or 6 of these. Maybe I'll pull all of them. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. That's what they're here for. I certainly could have pulled more than this. Maybe I'll get lucky and get a legendary right at the end. Nope, I'll get an epic, and that'll put me over the top. So now I've got what I need. I can hold on to 6 shards, pull during the next 2 times event, or use them when I need them, right? Because that's what they're there for. But again, always trying to get the most resources. I'm sorry, the most value for my resources. All right, so that's pretty awesome. So that's it. that's today's event. Let me know how you did this weekend. I didn't really watch a lot of videos this weekend. It was Father's Day weekend, so I was out and about with my family a lot. We saw both sets of grandparents. Yeah, I hung out with my son a lot. It was really nice. So, yeah, let me know, did you hit during this Ancient Shard event? If not, go ahead and let me know that as well, and I will commiserate with you because, you know, no content creator luck today in terms of legendaries, at least, although a pretty good return on my investment. So that's good. All right, that is it for me today. Thanks so much for hanging out. I have been Colred. I will see you in another video soon.